Welcome to today's deep dive. When we talk about artificial intelligence or just the cloud in general, we tend to use very floaty, ethereal words.
Right, yeah, like it's just magic.
Exactly. We imagine data just sort of existing in the ether,
Mm.
beamed magically from our phones up into the sky. It feels totally weightless.
Completely digital. Because we don't see the underlying physical architecture, we operate under this illusion that it doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
We picture these algorithms just learning and adapting in a vacuum, completely detached from any physical constraint.
But the reality is the cloud is incredibly heavy. It is heavily tethered to the ground.
Oh, absolutely.
It consists of thousands of tons of poured concrete, endless miles of thick copper wire, industrial-scale cooling towers, and just an immense amount of physical human labor.
Which is exactly what people are missing right now.
Right. And that brings us to the stack of sources we have for you today. We're looking at a March 2026 press release and a set of white paper excerpts from a company called Eon AI Ventures.
Yeah, and the title of their paper alone really sets a serious tone. It's called Solve the $1 Trillion Skills Gap.
Which is a huge claim. Today's mission is to uncover how this sweeping, highly digital AI boom has slammed headfirst into a very physical trillion-dollar brick wall.
A literal brick wall in many cases.
Yeah, exactly. And more importantly, for you listening, we are going to explore how a rather radical virtual reality platform claims it can fix this global bottleneck in just 30 days. Okay, let's unpack this, because the paradox here is striking.
It really is.
We're engineering the most advanced technology in human history, but we're actively running out of the people who know how to physically plug it in.
Yeah, to understand the sheer scale of this, we really have to look at what is physically being built right now. The entire tech sector is racing to construct GPU clusters.
And these are the graphics processing units.
Right, these vast interconnected arrays of GPUs that are required to train advanced AI models. And to house them, companies are erecting hyperscale data centers.
Which are huge.
Massive. These aren't just empty warehouses. They are incredibly complex, highly specialized infrastructure projects.
Right.
They draw immense amounts of electrical power. And because GPUs run incredibly hot,
Like melting up.
literally melting, they require sophisticated industrial-grade liquid and air cooling systems just to prevent the servers from destroying themselves.
Because, you can't code a building into existence.
No, you definitely cannot.
It's like engineering the world's most advanced software, pouring billions of dollars into the proprietary code, and then realizing you don't have anyone who knows how to turn a wrench to build the server racks to run it on.
Exactly. You need human hands to route the plumbing and pull the copper.
You really do.
And the numbers in this EON AI Ventures white paper illustrate the severity of that specific labor drought. According to their workforce data, since late 2022, the demand for robotics technicians has jumped 107%.
Wow. 107.
Yeah. And demand for HVAC engineers, the specialists required to design and maintain those critical cooling systems, that's up 67%.
That's a massive spike.
It is. But the most alarming metric is that the United States is currently facing a projected net shortage of 500,000 trained electricians over the next decade.
Wait, 500,000 electricians?
500,000.
Just missing from the workforce.
Just missing. What's fascinating here is how this specific shortage completely upends the underlying economics of the tech boom.
How so?
Well, electricians alone currently account for anywhere from 45 to 70% of total data center construction costs.
7% of the cost is just the electrical labor.
Yeah, because of this severe labor bottleneck, data center labor market wages have shot up 32% above conventional commercial construction levels.
That is insane.
It really is. And if this pipeline doesn't get fixed, that next incredible AI medical breakthrough or smart city grid you were waiting for physically has nowhere to live. The digital revolution is essentially being held hostage by a lack of physical labor.
Okay, let's look at this logically and challenge the premise for a moment.
Sure.
The source material states that these specific jobs offer six-figure salaries. They come with zero student debt. And they offer incredibly rapid career paths compared to traditional white-collar corporate ladders.
All true.
So, if the wages are skyrocketing and the jobs are abundant and lucrative, why on earth is the pipeline negative? People usually follow the money, right?
You'd think so, yeah. But we have to separate a temporary market fluctuation from a fundamental systemic failure.
Okay.
The white paper establishes that this is not a cyclical dip where people are just temporarily seeking other work. This is a structural crisis. We are dealing with a negative manufacturing pipeline.
Meaning what exactly?
The math is straightforward. There are significantly more older, experienced workers retiring and exiting the skilled trades than there are young people entering them to take their place.
But again, with 6 vows on the table, why aren't the young people entering?
The text points to two major structural failures. First, there is the cultural messaging.
Right.
For the better part of 3 decades, the dominant cultural narrative heavily deprioritized vocational careers. Entire generations were told that the singular, respectable path to success was a 4-year university degree.
Yeah, that messaging was everywhere.
Right, and it fueled the student debt crisis, but it also actively starved the skilled trades of incoming talent. Society basically implicitly discouraged people from pursuing the exact physical infrastructure jobs that are now commanding massive wage premiums.
So the cultural push was for everyone to go to college to become a manager, and now we have a deficit of people to actually build the things we need to manage.
That's a perfect way to put it. And the second failure compounding this issue is the architecture of the legacy training systems themselves.
The apprenticeships.
Exactly. Traditional apprenticeships and workforce development programs were built for a slow, steady, highly predictable pace of economic growth. They typically take 2 to 4 years, sometimes longer, to graduate a single certified individual.
Which, I mean, is a really long time in the tech world.
It's an eternity. The artificial intelligence industry is currently experiencing an explosive, exponential growth curve, bringing with it what the white paper calls frothy budgets to build infrastructure instantly.
Right.
A 4-year training pipeline is mathematically useless against exponential demand. It simply cannot scale quickly enough to build the data centers required today.
Because if a major tech firm needs a hyperscale data center operational by next year to train their next generation model, they cannot wait for a high school graduate who is just beginning a 4-year apprenticeship today.
No, they need that fully trained worker immediately.
The traditional system is just too slow for the current speed of innovation. Here's where it gets really interesting. Because if the old apprenticeship model is mathematically too slow to prevent a trillion-dollar bottleneck, the industry has to invent a completely new methodology for skill acquisition.
And that brings us to the technological solution proposed in our sources.
The EON Global Virtual Campus.
Exactly. That goal is highly ambitious. EON AI Ventures is aiming to solve the largest skilled trade shortage in modern history by entirely bypassing that slow 4-year legacy system.
Okay.
They are deploying a platform that combines AI-powered learning with immersive XR, which is extended reality simulations.
Right. XR?
And their central claim is that they can close this skills gap at a regional and national scale in potentially as little as 30 days of intensive training.
Wait, 30 days? Compressing a multi-year apprenticeship into a 30-day program? I have to be honest, reading that immediately raises a red flag regarding safety.
Sure, that's the natural reaction.
Because instead of a traditional apprenticeship where a trainee is hands-on with real wires, real heavy machinery, and shadowing a master of the trade for years, people are learning to build real-world data centers inside a virtual environment.
Yes.
How can anyone be sure they are ready for dangerous real-world tasks? We aren't talking about training someone to use a new spreadsheet software. We are talking about routing high-voltage electricity and installing industrial cooling systems.
It's a critical point, and the white paper addresses that exact concern under the concept of safety-critical readiness.
Okay, what does that mean?
Well, a mistake with high-voltage electrical switchgear, which are the massive industrial circuit breakers that control the heavy power flowing into a data center, is often lethal.
Right, you don't get a second chance.
Exactly. So EON's platform is not merely a series of instructional videos or a desktop simulator. The XR technology fully replicates these highly complex, physically embedded environments in 3 dimensions. We are talking about exact spatial twins of cooling systems, switchgear installations, and intricate conduit routing.
Okay, I understand the visual aspect, right. It looks real. But physical trades require physical intuition.
Yes.
How does putting a headset on teach someone how much torque to apply to a wrench, or how to physically pull thick copper wire through a tight conduit?
That distinction between standard virtual reality, VR, and extended reality, XR, is crucial here.
Okay, break that down for me.
VR often just puts you in a closed digital room. You just look around. XR blends virtual environments with physical feedback and spatial awareness.
So you actually feel it?
Yes. The trainees interact with the virtual environment using haptic feedback tools that simulate the physical resistance of the tasks.
Oh, wow.
It builds actual muscle memory. Trainees are physically moving, reaching, and manipulating tools in physical space, mapped perfectly to the virtual data center.
So they aren't just clicking a button on a controller.
No, they develop the spatial judgment required to do the job safely by repeating the physical motions dozens of times in a controlled environment.
It's like learning to disarm a bomb. You can't practice on a live explosive where an 80% passing grade means the building comes down.
Right.
You have to achieve 100% mastery in a completely safe, hyper-realistic sandbox first.
Exactly. And the pedigree of the company behind this lends a lot of credibility to that process. Eon AI Ventures was not spun up a few months ago just to capitalize on the AI buzzword trend.
Right, they've been around.
Their leadership stems from Eon Reality, an organization with 25 years of deep experience specifically in immersive learning, spatial computing, and XR solutions for industrial applications.
That's a huge head start.
It is. And the text highlights a crucial distinction here. Generic AI, the consumer-facing chatbots we use daily, might deliver an 80% quality output.
Which is fine for most things.
Yeah, in office environments, drafting an email or writing basic code, 80% is acceptable. The user can manually edit the remaining 20%.
Right.
But in high-stakes, physically embedded operations, 80% quality means a critical failure, a catastrophic fire, or a loss of life.
Yeah, close enough is a disaster when you are wiring a facility that draws enough power to run a small city.
Exactly. High-stakes operations require 100% precision every single time, and Eon's platform is engineered for zero-tolerance precision.
So it won't let you pass if you make a mistake.
Right. The system relentlessly verifies competency and tracks the exact physical movements of the trainee in the simulation. It will not pass a user until they demonstrate flawless execution repeatedly.
Wow.
The model basically compresses years of passive observational learning where an apprentice mostly just watches a master work into weeks of intense, highly focused, continuous experiential learning.
Okay, let's assume the XR technology works flawlessly. Let's say you genuinely can safely train a world-class HVAC technician in 30 days using spatial computing and haptics. That introduces an entirely new hurdle. Whenever I hear about a tech company offering to, quote, revolutionize education, I immediately think of the tablet and iPad fads from 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
School districts and local governments went bankrupt, buying proprietary hardware that became obsolete 18 months later.
Is mess.
Deploying advanced XR headsets, AI software licenses, and the massive computing power required for this at a national scale sounds astronomically expensive for a public institution. What is the catch?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Or, well, the trillion-dollar question. The economics of adoption usually kill educational revolutions before they leave the pilot phase.
Exactly.
But Eon White Paper outlines a financial framework they call the impact share model, specifically to bypass this barrier. It is designed as a zero-risk financial model that requires absolutely no upfront funding from the government, the community college, or the local educational institution.
Wait, zero? How does that actually work in practice? If the school pays zero upfront funding, someone has to be footing the bill for the hardware and the software infrastructure.
Right. Eon carries the upfront financial risk and capital expenditure to deploy the platform rapidly. They state it can be operational within 30 days of adoption by an institution.
Okay, but how do they make their money back?
They monetize the output rather than the input. The entire system is built around what they call the skills to jobs to income platform.
Okay, walk me through that.
Think about traditional education models. They monetize the input, right? The student or the state pays tuition, the school provides a diploma, and the transaction basically ends there.
Yeah, and then you're on your own to find a job.
Exactly. But Eon's ecosystem is a direct digitized pipeline connecting the specific skills acquired in the XR simulation directly to active, open job requisitions in the real world.
Ah, I see. The tech giants and construction firms are the ones desperate for the labor, and they are already paying a 32% wage premium just to find people. So the employers are effectively subsidizing the training platform through placement fees or specialized recruitment contracts because it solves their trillion-dollar construction bottleneck.
You nailed it. The platform matches the fully certified trainee with the specific corporations bidding for that exact skill profile.
That is a brilliant business model.
It is. And because this pipeline is entirely integrated digitally, institutions and governments can track metrics that historically have been very difficult to quantify.
Like what?
Well, they move beyond simply tracking graduation rates. The platform measures time to competency, immediate job placement rates, and the actual verified income uplift for the worker post-training.
So they can prove it works.
Yes. The institution can definitively prove the economic mobility they are facilitating. By removing the upfront cost barrier and tying revenue to successful job placement, EON states they can rapidly scale this model to train up to 1 billion learners globally without compromising on the quality of the XR simulations.
1 billion learners utilizing an XR to employment pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that fundamentally shifts the role of a community college from an educational provider to a direct economic engine.
It does. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it reframes the broader conversation surrounding artificial intelligence.
How so?
There is a quote in the press release from Dan Lajerskar, the chairman of EON AI Ventures, that articulates this dynamic perfectly.
What does he say?
He states, AI is not just reshaping the workforce, it's exposing hidden vulnerabilities in how we train, certify, and deploy skilled tradespeople.
Wow.
He goes on to say, with the EON Global Virtual Campus, we are tackling the problem at its source and at scale. This is not about incremental change. It's about a complete reimagination of workforce readiness for the AI era.
A complete reimagination. That concept really ties the two halves of our deep dive together. The narrative is usually that AI is simply going to automate white-collar jobs.
Right, writers, coders, that sort of thing.
But the hidden vulnerability is that AI has exposed the archaic nature of our physical training pipelines. The hyperscale infrastructure boom is merely the stress test that finally broke the legacy apprenticeship model.
Exactly. The physical demands of the digital era have just entirely outpaced the speed of traditional human skill acquisition.
So, what does this all mean? Synthesizing this journey, we started by identifying a severe irony in modern technology. The cutting-edge, highly ethereal AI boom is entirely gated by a rapidly shrinking pool of heavy, physical labor.
Yeah, you need the electricians.
We explored how decades of cultural messaging pushing students away from the trades, combined with a painfully slow, multi-year legacy apprenticeship model, resulted in a crippling net shortage of 500,000 electricians in the U.S. alone.
A structural collapse.
Right. And then we examined the proposed solution from EON AI Ventures, utilizing the very technology causing the boom to fix a bottleneck.
Fighting fire with fire, essentially.
Exactly. They propose a 30-day, zero upfront cost virtual reality campus that uses AI and XR haptics to safely compress years of physical training into weeks, and then directly monetizes the pipeline by connecting those verified skills to high-paying jobs.
It's incredibly ambitious.
It forces you to rethink the timeline of career readiness and serves as a powerful reminder that no matter how sophisticated our algorithms become, the cloud still requires a massive physical footprint on the Earth.
It does. And it leaves us with a provocative dynamic to consider moving forward for you listening.
What's that?
The implications of this extend far beyond electricians, HVAC technicians, and data center construction.
Right.
If immersive XR and AI can successfully and safely compress years of highly physical, safety-critical, zero-tolerance apprenticeship training into mere weeks of virtual simulation, will the traditional multi-year university degree eventually become the slower, outdated path, even for the most complex engineering and intellectual disciplines? I mean, think about it. If an individual can learn to flawlessly wire a hyperscale data center in 30 days through spatial computing, we have to ask what other advanced professions can be mastered in a fraction of the traditional time.
That is wild. It suggests the classroom of the near future might look nothing like a classroom at all, but rather a hyper-focused, risk-free simulation.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We hope this exploration gave you a new perspective on the unseen human machinery that physically builds our digital world.
Keep questioning how the systems around you are constructed.
And remember, the next time you seamlessly save a file to the cloud, you might want to thank an electrician. Stay curious, and we'll catch you next time.